The Stone Age is divided into three periods: the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. The Paleolithic, the oldest and longest period, saw the emergence of Homo habilis, the first true human species. Homo habilis crafted primitive tools like chipped stones with sharp edges and built basic shelters. Paleolithic people formed tribes and used temporary shelters as they were nomadic. During the Mesolithic period, some humans began building camps near rivers, becoming more sedentary. The invention of the bow and arrow, the first long-range weapon, and improved tool crafting enabled fishing and boating. The Neolithic period saw the end of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle as agriculture and farming tools were developed. Domestication of cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs led to permanent settlements. The creation of villages, pottery, basketry, weaving, and the invention of the wheel. The Stone Age lasted so long that it represents 99% of human history. The discovery of metalworking, specifically copper smelting, marked the end of the Stone Age, despite earlier use of metals like gold for ornamentation. Bronze Age. With the discovery that heating copper made it softer and easier to shape, humans began using it, but it was too soft for weapons until they mixed it with other materials like arsenic or zinc to create bronze, a much harder metal. Bronze enabled the creation of the first swords, helmets, armors, and shields. Farming became more efficient with bronze sickles and irrigation, leading to population growth and city expansion. Majestic buildings like ziggurats, pyramids, and temples were constructed. Enhanced ships facilitated trade, and the first forms of writing appeared in Mesopotamia and Egypt. The Bronze Age ended with a societal collapse, where many large civilizations vanished almost instantly, possibly due to volcanic eruptions, droughts, diseases, invasions, or earthquakes. Iron Age. After the Bronze Age collapse, humans began smelting iron. While early iron smelting had no advantage over bronze, iron was more abundant, allowing mass production of tools and weapons. New construction and farming tools like forks and sewing needles were invented. Coins became widespread currency, and the famous Silk Road trade route was established. The Iron Age was the last prehistoric period. Classical Antiquity began with the Archaic period, marked by the first written histories, such as those by Herodotus, the father of history. The Greeks and Romans laid the foundation for Western civilization, while the first Chinese imperial dynasty emerged in the East. Greek philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, as well as religious texts like the Bible, Hindu scriptures, and the writings of Confucius, shaped moral and philosophical foundations. Classical art from this period remains highly regarded, and early democratic and scientific thinking emerged in Greece. Figures like Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar were prominent leaders. Classical Antiquity ended with the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Middle Ages are divided into the early, high, and late Middle Ages. The early Middle Ages, or Dark Ages, followed the fall of the Western Roman Empire, marked by economic, intellectual, and cultural decline. Centralized states lost power, and Islam began to emerge. The High Middle Ages saw the rise of feudalism, where land was exchanged for military service. The Catholic Church militarized, clashing with other powers and conducting the Crusades. State power strengthened, and Gothic architecture emerged. The Late Middle Ages began with the Little Ice Age, the Great Famine, the 100 Years' War, and the Black Death, which killed a third of Europe's population. However, the printing press was invented, leading to mass-produced newsletters despite the limited variety of sources. The early modern age saw significant cultural and scientific changes. Humanism, focusing on human potential, and the Renaissance, aiming to revive and surpass classical antiquity's achievements, flourished. Notable figures included Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Machiavelli, Donatello, Botticelli, Galileo, Shakespeare, Caravaggio, and Columbus. Protestantism began with Martin Luther's 95 Theses. The scientific revolution laid the foundations for modern science through the works of Newton, Copernicus, and Descartes. The Enlightenment followed, emphasizing rationalism, natural law, liberty, progress, and the separation of church and state. The Age of Discovery led to European exploration and colonization of the Americas. The First Industrial Revolution transitioned economies to manufacturing with automated machines and steam and water power. Inspired by the American and French revolutions, the Age of Revolution saw nations move from absolute monarchies to representative governments. The Second Industrial Revolution brought innovations like standardization, mass production, telegraph and railroad networks, and electrical power. After the World Wars, the Information Age began, marked by computers, the internet, artificial intelligence, and robots. The period after World War II is known as contemporary history,